Hey everybody, TRONZ here. Yeah, look up there. All cloudy, cloudy skies. Well, I had me a show all lined up about my personal addictions. And I was thinking about it, and had all things all lined up, how I was going to talk about the things that I've had trouble with, addictions to things, you know. And so as I was thinking about it, I was making some notes, put them down here on my napkin. See, got my napkin with a bunch of notes on them. And I thought, well, I'm going to give it some thought and run it through my head a little bit and put a post up there on Facebook. And everybody, thank you so much for all the likes and smiles and comments that you put on it. But I thought, addiction. I was going to make some humor out of my addictions, all kinds of goofy things that I'm addicted to. And some of them I find serious, extremely serious, very serious addictions, I think. But yesterday, so my mama called me and said she had some medication over at CVS. So I showed up at CVS, and no sooner I showed up, the ambulance was showing up and the police had showed up, and there was some fellow laying right out there in front of the doors of CVS, OD'd on heroin. Just laying out there all just turning at colors, buddy. Whew. And I thought, now there is an addiction. There is total fucking bummer. And I guess they gave him his Narcan and popped him back to life a few times. And so I went in, got my mom's medication, and then I thought, well, maybe I need to just kind of go a little on the side with my addiction thing here and maybe come back into a little bit more thought and knowledge. And so I look at my notes down here, and there's a lot of life-changing addictions. You got your hard narcotics, you got your alcohol, and you have these cigarettes. Talk about addiction, that's my addiction. I've quit smoking cigarettes 4 times in my lifetime, and every time I go right back on the damn things. I can't stop that nicotine. It's just something about it. Now, I know there's ways of doing it. There's hypnosis. There's all kinds of other things to do about it. But when I saw that poor fellow laying down there, and I say poor fella, I don't know. Did I pity him or feel sorry for him? I kind of had some feelings at that moment, but that was his life choice. He made a life choice, the same as I did with these cigarettes. So I'm not expecting anybody to go, oh, Jim. No, I made the choice. I bought these damn things, And then I thought, well, I'm going to look up addictions and just see what addictions are all about. So I did. I looked it up. I went real deep into Google and Yahoo, and I found some real interesting things about addiction. And I thought, okay, are my addictions really that bad, or are there other people who have it worse? And I thought, well, TRONZ, after reading that, I thought, dude, TRONZ, you don't gnaw on wood. There are people who gnaw on wood. They're addicted to wood, and they just sit there and they gnaw on it. Then there are people who eat toilet paper. That's an addiction, eating toilet paper. They can't break that habit. You gotta have some serious psychiatric treatment and some long years of therapy. Think about it. I really kind of freaked me out. I really thought, well, there for the longest time I was addicted to Coke Zero. But I wasn't addicted to gnawing on wood. I don't know. Where as it can be. I don't eat toilet paper. I know there was one thing in there about addiction where people pull their hair out each one at a time and they eat it. Huh? What? They're addicted to the hair. I don't know why they don't eat other people's hair, but I do know that kitties do that a lot, but at least they barf it up. I don't know. Maybe these other people barf it up too. I don't know. I'm just not that familiar with it. Then when I thought about it, I go, damn, I got it pretty good. TRONZ, that's right. But like I say, how many times have I tried quitting smoking cigarettes? I'm not an alcoholic, but I drink every once in a while and then. I'm not a drug addict. I don't smoke weed. I haven't done acid in 50 years. I thought, well, and people go, well, you can't get addicted to weed. Well, that's an interesting subject matter. I've had a lot of friends who do a lot of weed, and I know some of them who couldn't handle it. Every 2 or 3 hours, they had to get hit. They had to smoke them some weed because they got some bad attitudes once they were starting to mellow out a little bit and kind of come off. Yeah, I've seen that before, I've seen people hopped up on PCP, and I've seen brain damage done to people with LSD. Now, those aren't addictions, but those are things that can really malfunction your lifestyle in a heartbeat. And I thought, well, you know, TRONZ, heck, you know, and let me look down here. Oh, yeah, I had a friend who was addicted to tattoos. Come on now. You say, oh, come on, TRONZ. No, she was addicted to tattoos. She had almost every inch of her body tattooed. And then she started getting tattoos over top of the tattoos. I'm serious. And I thought, wait a minute. Why didn't somebody put a stop to that? Why didn't somebody grab a hold of her and help her? And because she just had to have it over and over and over and over again. It's like plastic surgery. Look at Michael Jackson. He was addicted to plastic surgery. Never satisfied. Had to keep going, keep going, keep going. And then it dawned on me, damn, for the longest time, old TRONZ had a big hole right here of loneliness. So did you know that from 2006 until 2012, I spent over $50,000 on clothes? I mean, I'd have literally get off work and I'd drive all the way to Lexington and I'd go shopping down there at the stores. And then they had a discount store down there, Dillard's did, and I'd shop at that. I'd go to DC and shop. I would go to Winston-Salem and shop. I'd go to Charlotte, North Carolina, and I'd shop. I'd go to Louisville, I'd shop. I'd go to Cincinnati and shop. I'd go to Columbus and shop. I'd go to Cleveland and shop. Whew. Every time I was in LA, I'd spend at least $1,000, $2,000 on clothes. And it's all because I just didn't have anyone to hang around with. And when I went in there, I put on an act, man. I was cool, man. You wouldn't believe it. I'd walk in and I'd hand them my keys, my wallet, my checkbook, and I'd hand them my cell phone. I'd say, you know, I get a little delirious sometimes and I forget these things. And then the next thing I know, I got people waiting on me. Did you know that I was an elite Ralph Lauren customer? I was so elite I didn't have to pay for my shipping. And when I went someplace, whether it be in Malibu at the Ralph Lauren stores or whether I was in Hollywood, and I had to stop, I went through so much money, I racked up a debt like you wouldn't believe. And you know, the only thing that really stopped me is I just realized, damn, Jim, you spent almost all your life savings on this. Whole room full of it. Was I addicted? Yes, I was. Could I go back into it? Yeah, probably. I probably could. Same as cigarettes, you know? And I think about that all the time. I think about that. And I think it's a bummer when people get themselves involved in things. I've seen family members die of alcoholism. I've seen cirrhosis of the liver straight up, buddy, and that's an addiction. That's enough to turn your stomach. And you know, people always love a drunk. Well, we all love a good old drunk. Hell, when TRONZ is drunk, you should pay admission because it's funny. It's pretty funny. But, you know, I just have to say that, like, what can we do? I guess, you know, again, what can we do? I love licorice. I love licorice. Am I addicted to licorice? You know, every time I've been going to the grocery store here lately, I have to keep myself from going down that aisle and buying some licorice. I really do. But boy, it only takes a split second for me to buy me a cigarette. I don't even have to think twice. Don't have to think twice. And coffee, that's a caffeine, that's an addiction. Now, a lot of people do remember, and I'm just gonna bring this up so those people who know about it can kind of maybe get a good laugh out of it. About 1997, old TRONZ found out that he was deeply, deeply, deeply hypothyroid. They give me the medication, which is Synthroid, and all of a sudden that just unmasked all kinds of things. It unmasked depression, it unmasked anxiety, it unmasked claustrophobia, it unmasked fears. I don't know what was happening to me. And one day my mama sat me down on the chair in the living room and she says, "You calm down." Well, I just couldn't stand it. I felt like I was gonna just lose my mind. So what did she do? My mama went in and got me a couple of Ativan, and she says, "Take these, baby. Sit there and chill out." And I sat there and chilled out. You know, next thing I know, I felt normal. I was like, whoa, I feel good. So I called up my buddies. I said, "Hey, let's go do something, man. I feel really good." And they were so surprised because they knew that sometimes you could take me to the Calamity Cafe and I'd be in there for 15 minutes and I'd run out of the building, sweat rolling off of me. And they'd have to tell everybody, people, "What's wrong with TRONZ?" And they go, "Oh, he's just having a moment. He's just having a moment." But once I found out about that, I went to my psychiatrist and I said, "Doc," I said, "if you were in my hormonal freak out right now, What would you do if you had to go home to the family and the kids? There's a medicine cabinet up on the wall, and on that top shelf you have your heroin, you got your morphine, you got your oxy. On the second shelf, you got this, and this, Xanaxes and Zoloft and all that other stuff. I mean, Zoloft and whatever. I don't know what all them other psychotropic drugs are, because I wouldn't take that shit. I said, but then there on the bottom shelf, you got your benzodiazepine family, you got your Valium, you got your Xannies, and you got your Ativan. Which one are you going to take when you go home to the kids and be a normal human being and have your wife and everybody enjoy your company? He said, I'd do the Ativan. I said, okay, then if it's good enough for you, it's good enough for me. So for 5 years, I ate that stuff every day, 3 and 4 times a day. Sometimes I'd be in such a bad shape, I'd go into Mycroft's or Calamity Cafe or down at Hank's, and I'd order me a shot of Jack Daniels, and I'd drop 2 or 3 of them Ativan in it, and I'd drink that shot back, and you know what? I felt normal. I felt like I do right now. And sometimes I was like getting full body tans, and with those full body tans, I had a full body tan, and so somebody saw me one day, and I was red as a lobster, and a person said, "Oh God, that sunburn must hurt." And I go, "What? That doesn't hurt. Nothing hurts. It's okay." Well, I later found out from a doctor that Ativan is used intravenously for people who suffer from major burns on their body, because there's something inside your brain that the Ativan turns off. Street name for it is forget-me-not. And no wonder I couldn't feel the burns. But then I'd say probably around 2002, something like that. Yeah, about that time. You know what? I just didn't renew my prescription. Just walked away from it. Now, I know people who are addicted to it. And I thought maybe the reason why I'm not addicted is I was so hormonal screwed up because of that thyroid problem, which was now starting to fix itself. You know, the hair on your legs won't grow back until the glands in your body start to go. Yeah, you gotta go glands. It's all like one big mess. I could discuss it for hours on you. But again, this is old TRONZ here talking about addictions, and I certainly do appreciate everybody tuning in today, and I hope I made some sense. Those of you out there who are eating toilet paper, I say seriously get you some help. Them of you who are gnawing on wood, I do that too. I don't think that masturbating is an addiction. I think masturbation is fun, and it's, you kind of get a release on it, because if you ain't having some real true honest sex, well, hell, there ain't nothing wrong with having yourself a nice little masturbation every once in a while then. You can go out to the woods and do it. You can do it in a parking lot downtown. You can do it on your back porch at 3 o'clock in the morning, or hell, you can just do it in the comfort of sitting on your couch in the living room. Well, I know one thing, folks. TRONZ is having a good day today. So let's keep this thing in tune right now, and let's figure it out. I say peace, love, you know how that's spelled, L-O-V-E. TRONZ here. Over and out.